Hello and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is May the 25th, I believe, 2023. I'm coming to you from southwestern Ontario in Canada, where it is still just a wee bit chilly for this time of the year. We've been getting temperatures up in the 70s, and it's not too bad some days, but I just went out there a minute ago and it was too chilly for my short sleeves. But anyhow, summer, I guess, will soon be here. We keep hoping. I've had, first of all, before I start chattering away, I want to welcome everybody, both my regular followers and anybody that may be new. I hope you will give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. I love reading your comments. And if you're new, please hit that subscribe button and come back and join us again. I think you will see that it is pretty interesting here. And I have had a busy week, and the next week is going to be very busy as well. As you know, I've been talking about my work in the garden lately. It isn't going to end right away. It's slow going this year. It's partly because of the weather. The weather has kept us from getting out in that garden. But before I start talking about what I'm doing, I'm going to pop in a couple of pictures right here, because I just went outside and I took these two pictures because at the beginning of the week, my lilac bushes just all of a sudden burst out in bloom. And so I'm going to put a picture. I have 3 lilac bushes in my front yard, 1 out by the street and 2 up by the house. And in the single one by the street, you'll notice a hosta, and I'll be talking about hostas in a minute, in the front. And where I have the 3 bushes, the 2 lilac bushes, and in between the 2 lilac bushes, that's a burning bush, which will be flaming red in the fall. It's beautiful. But let me get back to what's going on with my gardens. I learned, for those that are new here or have not been with me very long, I have talked a few times about my hosta gardens. I actually took you on a tour, I don't know, it was last year or the year before, but I decided a few years back to start a large hosta garden in my backyard. The reason being is I have a huge, one day I'll take a picture, I have a huge maple tree in my backyard that covers 3/4 of the yard in shade. And as you know, not much grows in shade. I could only, in 1/2 of the yard that sees nothing but shade, I can grow weeds. And that's about it. And it was an awful mess back there. And one day I happened to go to this hosta nursery in a little town that's about an hour away from me. And I discovered the world of hostas and decided to transform my backyard, which looked horrible. I mean, like absolutely embarrassingly horrible. I wanted to transform my backyard into a hosta garden. And I started to do that. I had it partly torn up in the fall of 2015, and in 2016 I started planting hostas a little bit at a time. And as you know, they take time to grow, and there's only a few that are big right now, but I have a lot of smaller ones because I had a goal to get 200 hostas in my yard. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? 200 hostas. And I just have a normal, actually a little bit smaller than normal yard. But I managed to get 200 in. Now I've lost a few every year. You seem to lose a few and then I replace them. But my goal was to get 200 different ones. You know, lots of people have a dozen hostas, but they may have only 2 different kinds, and they have split them and kept increasing the numbers of plants they have. But I wanted to collect them. So, you know, they make hostas this small, they call them dwarf. Like I have dancing mouse and blue ears mouse and lots of little mice. And they go from small, 6 inches, all the way up to 70 some inches. Well, it's been kind of a labor of love over the last 6 or 7 years, buying hostas and creating the gardens in my yard. And just last week, I discovered that the nursery, that's about an hour from me, and it's a huge nursery. First of all, I'm going to pop in a picture here if I can find it. I think I have a picture that shows a part of their display gardens. They have their own personal display gardens where they have, I think it's something like 1,100 or 1,300 different varieties. And these are not little ones. They're big, full-grown ones, although throughout the property they have all different sizes of hostas. And they sell to the public, again, it's either 11 or 1,300, I don't know which one is which, different varieties of hostas. So that has been my main source of hostas for my yard. I bought from other places, because they don't have every hosta in existence, and there were certain ones I went searching because of their names. Anyway, long story short, last week I discovered that they are going out of business. Very, very sad for me. There's such a beautiful garden just to go to visit because of this beautiful variety and this display garden. And they were going out of business and having a big sale that was lasting from last Saturday to this Saturday. So I had a window of 1 week to get there and get whatever hostas I could possibly get at a blowout price. Now, they have what look like greenhouses to me. They call them something else, but they're big plastic domed enclosures where they have their hostas by sizes, and they were all selling out at $5 a piece, and then they were selling off their display hostas at other higher prices, of course. Now, I could not buy any of their display hostas because their display hostas, first of all, are huge. Second of all, would be dug down deep, and I can't dig deep in my yard. I have too many roots from trees surrounding the yard, so I couldn't buy any of them, but I looked at them in envy and wished I could. But I did make a run for it yesterday, down there to see what hostas I could get. And I'm going to insert a picture here of my trunk just as we were ready to leave, showing all the hostas. I got all small ones in their small 4-inch or 5-inch containers. He didn't have a lot. It was very, very bedraggled looking. They needed darn good watering when they got home. But I managed to get 30 different hostas that, other than one, I had never had before. One, I had to replace one that I lost this past winter. So that's what I've been busy doing, is getting my gardens in order. I made a run yesterday, took the whole day besides my class to get all these hostas. Now they're sitting on my patio, and over the next week, these have to get planted. but I don't intend to plant anything until I get the weeds out of my garden. So that's my job today. When I finish this video, out I go to weed the gardens. So, long discourse to tell you what's been going on in my life. And that was a major thing, was seeing that I could get down there. I would have got a better choice had I gone on the weekend, but I heard it was a zoo down there on the weekend and I didn't need that. So that's my adventures in the garden, updating you on that. So have I managed to do any crochet? Well, ta-da, yes. I finished the top that I've been kind of bemoaning for the last couple of weeks, and it is done. Here it is. I'm actually it's a little bit loose. I could have used it tighter, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out, although it's still heavier than I would have wanted for a summer top. But it's going to be okay since it is loose. And this is the Wren Tea. And I have already posted it on Lynn Ann's Facebook, Nina's Knots Crochet. I've posted it there. And maybe if I think about it later tonight, I'll post it on my Instagram. So I did finish this to my satisfaction, and I am able to wear it. I have another finished object I'll show you in a minute. And I have been working a little bit, not a lot, because I haven't done a lot of anything this past week. I've been working a little bit on my windsurfer shawl, the one with the 2 cakes of yarn. And if I can find the right end, I can show you that I made that much progress. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, about 11 rows of progress. You can see now that the coral is starting to work in. I am into the coral in this cake, and I will not be finishing this. I am just going to go another, maybe twice this distance to get a decent amount of coral in it. And then I'm going to stop because we're never going to run out of aqua. But it definitely has gotten lighter in the aqua. But the other has gone from purple into lighter purple into this peachy coral color. So I did a little bit of work on that. One day I just wanted a relaxing day, and that's a very easy, straightforward thing to do. You don't have to think about it too much. So I did work on that. And I have another finished object to show you, and then some things to talk about. So here we are with a shawl, and I'll show you the back. This is my Mayflower shawl. This is the greens and the white for the lily of the valley. The shawl is a pattern by Karen Hooley, and it is called, I don't think I'm saying it right, Polka. It's P-A-C-E, but it's Italian, and I forget what it means. But it's a Karen Hooley pattern, and I will link it in the description box below. And I'm going to take it off of her so you can see that this is a circular shawl. Circular. Now, it took the entire, where did I put my yarn? Oh, it's not down here. Well, it's hidden somewhere. It took only part, maybe half at the very most, of the white. But it took the entire skein except, well, I could have done maybe one more row of green, but it didn't need that extra row. So that's the shawl I made for May. And I want to remind you that today is the 25th, if I have my days correct, and you have to have your pictures into me by Monday, May the 29th, because the 1st of June is next Thursday. I'll talk about that in a minute. So if you are wanting to participate in the monthly slideshow, you need to get your pictures to me by Monday. And, you know, at the moment, I only have, 8, maybe 9 pictures so far. And, you know, I've been getting 20 every month, so we only have a few more days, 4 days, 25 to 29, to get those pictures in. So don't forget. I know some people tell me afterwards, well, they did something, they forgot to send me the picture, or they were a little bit late getting done. So anyway, that is my May contribution. And now let's talk about next week. Next week, as you know, I always do something at the first of the month. I do a slideshow of all of your projects. Still intend to do that. And then I do the reveal for the next month. And since the first of the month is also on Thursday this time, I'm going to do it all in one video. I'm not going to do my usual Thursday video as well as the beginning of the month. But it will be a little longer. I will do the slideshow. I will do the reveal of June, which you want to see this because it's going to be a big surprise. Yeah, a very different picture. And then I'm going to do part of what I would normally do on a Thursday. And next week is the week that I will be selling my de-stash of yarn. Well, as much as I de-stash this time, I'm sure there's more I could de-stash, but I'm doing it in levels, in increments, we'll say. So this is what is going to happen next week. I have de-stashed one section of yarn. It's all yarn that I have already, these are samples, yarn that I have already caked. Way back in the day at the beginning, I was on the impression it would be better to cake them all and I could store them easier. Now they say, well, not a good idea, but anyway. And all of these cakes are, I think there might be 2 that I don't have the tags, but otherwise I have kept the tags that tell you the company name, the composition, it's almost all merino nylon blend, the color name, the weight, the amount of yardage. Every one of these cakes will have a clip on them to hold the yarn, you know, the end of the yarn from unraveling. This one needs to be pushed back in a little bit, but all of them have a clip on them. So you'll see why I enjoy clips. Now, the other thing is, if you buy, let's say 3 or more cakes, then you will also get with it one of my yarn cozies. And these are good for putting your cake of yarn in. And if you're working from a center pull, it holds the yarn, and it is supposed to collapse with it to keep it kind of tidy as it gets smaller. Okay, so these, you can't buy these. I went out and bought this yarn and made these. I still have maybe half a dozen, but I have enough yarn. I bought enough fabric to make another 2 dozen probably. So if you buy 3 or more cakes, you'll get a yarn cozy with it as a little gift from me. Now what I'm going to do is, and I have to tell you, I have somewhere around 40 cakes, skeins of yarn, all caked up. I have 1 or 2 that aren't caked up. And what I'm going to do is show a picture of 5 at a time. They'll all be numbered so you can easily identify what you're interested in purchasing. And then you just will send me an email. I'll give you the specifics of that next week. But after we do our slideshow, I'm going to take the time to show you pictures one at a time with probably 5 cakes at a time in the picture. And if there's anything you want, these are all going to be at half price, which is $20 Canadian for a cake of yarn. Half price. They haven't been used. All I've done is cake them up. So you'll be getting a chance to try some hand-dyed. They're all fingering weight, hand-dyed yarn from various places throughout, mostly throughout the US. Some might be from Canada or other places, but pretty much the US. So that's the other thing that's going to happen next week. Very dry again. We need rain. All right. Now, what else do we have to do this week? Oh, yeah. If you remember last week, I showed you this yarn and I asked what to do about it, how it would work. You remember, you were here last week. And I had a very wise follower suggest to me, see, I only have 2, suggest to me that before I think about what to do with it, that maybe I should cake it up, stitch up a swatch, and wash it. And then I would find out if it does soften up, how it does behave. Maybe it would then suggest to me what I could make. So I listened to this wise person and I caked it up. It's very stiff. Reminds me of, it's not quite as hard, a little more pliable, but remember, I used to buy very, very thin wire. I would use it on the back of pictures to hang pictures or plates on the wall. So it's very stiff. As you can see, it has trouble staying in the cake. And it's very thin. So I had this handy. I think it's a number 3. You can see how thin it is and how uncooperative it is. And I use this hook. A bigger hook would not have made things any bigger, better to handle. This is not easy to handle. So I made a swatch and I put it in the water. I soaked it for, I'm sure it was at least an hour. I put it in a big tin of bowl of water, and I went away and crocheted for a while and did some other things. And then I came back and dried it on the towel. And then I thought, I did all single crochets. How about doing double crochets? Well, first of all, it just doesn't cooperate. And look at how big. That's a double crochet with a number 3 hook. Yes, see how big it is? Because it does not want to cooperate and go where it should go. Here is see if I could do a stitch on camera here while you watch. Even though I have it nice and small on the hook, oh, that's a single crochet. Sorry, we want to do a double crochet. Even though I'm holding it tight, pulling it tight, we are getting this great big stitch. And it's very frustrating to work with because it wants to go all over the place. And as for did it soften up? Well, I guess you could say it feels a little softer. It still feels wiry. Not wiry, scratchy, but in the stiffness. Nothing soft about it. Did not expand to my knowledge. And now maybe it would look better if it was an open work, but I can't say I even like that part of it. So here's my conclusion. I have no desire to use this yarn. None whatsoever. Too bad, it's kind of pretty. I guess the other thing I could have tried was putting it as a strand with something thicker, but it wouldn't want to behave. This does not want to behave so that you can use it. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, it's a shame, but I didn't pay anything for it. It was given to me in a swap from somebody else who probably decided she didn't know what to do with it. And I look at all the yarn I've been showing you, all this yarn I have back here, and this is just EFA yarn. It's not all the other yarn. I have another cubby over on this far wall in the closet that's full of yarn, and it doesn't talk about the yarn that I have other places in the house. And I'm saying, like, I really need to worry about this yarn? You don't have enough yarn to keep you busy? Of course you do. So guess what? Forget it. If somebody really, really, really wants it, let me know. You can have it. But if I don't hear anything in the next week, I think I'm just going to pitch it. I can't imagine who would want to use this yarn. Now, Gary, I know you have three skeins of this as well in a different color, you say. If you want this to go with yours, to try something, I'll gladly send it to you. Let me know. But I am not going to be using it for anything. I have so much yarn, I couldn't begin to use it all in a couple lifetimes. So that's the end of that yarn for me. Okay, that's that. Okay, so I'm going to finish off with showing you some yarn I received. I like to show you one acquisition a week. You're actually going to see two this week just because one is very small. Once again, I watched a YouTube video from Karen Hooley at the first of the month where she was interviewing a yarn dyer. And so I did one token order from her. I really wasn't going to order, but I decided, oh, I'll do one. And I got two hanks that match. This yarn dyer is, I got a card here, Cornbread and Honey. She's in Ohio. I thought it was kind of neat that she said where she's situated, she's looking out at Lake Erie. And so I messaged and I said, well, I see Lake Erie from the other side. She's in Ohio on the south side of Lake Erie, and I'm in Ontario, which is on the north kind of shores. Actually, where I am is almost to the western end of Lake Erie. So, Cornbread and Honey, hand-dyed yarn. This happens to be, as usual, superwash merino, 75-25 with nylon. It has 100 grams, 463 yards, and it is a little bit thinner than some. It has the ply or twist noticeable in it, but it's a nice tight twist. It feels nice, average. And this was what she calls her color of the month. Apparently she dyes up a color of the month. This May colorway called Shrooms. And this is the yarn. All these colors. Now, some of it I really like, and other parts I don't like. This I don't care for at all. So I bought two to be sure I had enough for something like a shawl, because you know I make a lot of shawls, and it looked a little more vibrant, I guess you might say, when she was showing it. And on her website, it really looked nice. But when I get it, I'm going to be honest and say I'm disappointed in the color. Now that's me. Other people would love these colors. And I suspect with all the yarn I have that one day this will go in a giveaway, or when I destash, I'll sell it. I just don't see myself working with this, sorry to say. It's nice yarn. It feels good. It's just, this isn't my color. Okay, so the order acquisition, oh, by the way, I got some cute things with this. She's into natural things, so this is a face scrub of some sort that's made with wheat, I believe. And I got this cute clay polymer stitch marker that's a little gnome. Isn't he cute? So, my acquisition for this week that I wanted to show you, and again, I've had this acquisition for a while now, and it comes from Trilogy Yarns, and I'm going to start with this one. Trilogy Yarns, you know, I forgot to look up where they are located. I will link them down below, and when I look them up, I will put their location, what state. I'm pretty sure they're in the US. So anyway, here's the first one. Isn't this beautiful? Now, I have to think from the feel of it. It has silk. Yes, I'm right. 70% superwash merino and 30% mulberry silk. It has 415 yards fingering weight. It feels silky. It is nice. There's a pop of orange in there. Isn't that pretty? So, and I can tell by looking there at what I got from them that I tried to order different bases. And this one is silky. This is going to make one of my nice fashion scarves. So that's one I got. Then I got a sparkle. Can we see sparkle? A little bit. There. I think you can see the sparkle. Yeah, in through there. This one is merino nylon and stellina. So 70 merino, 20 nylon, and 10 stellina. And it has 220 yards in it. And, oh, I didn't tell you the color of this. This color of this is embers. And the color of this one is Cabernet. A nice, rich color. And I have other things that this could go with that's more speckly or variegated that this might go with. Very, very deep, rich, feels nice. A little better than average. Now I have a second one on the same base. This one's Cabernet, and this one is oyster shell. Again, sparkly. Do you see some sparkles in there? And it would be the same composition as this. They could go together, although I don't intend to put them together because I have something else I want to show you. But I love the colors of this. I show you the Razzle Dazzle is the name of the base, this one. The name of this base was just Singles. They always give the bases names. There's their logo, Trilogy Yarns. But I was thinking I might put this one with this. What do you think? Now, this is not a sparkle base. This is called Plush, and you'll see why. It is. It's what's called an MCN base. So it has 80% merino, 10% nylon, and 10% cashmere. And I knew that before I picked it up, because you can always see a bit of halo, and it is soft. Now, mind you, I know some people that have just merino nylon that's as soft as cashmere, but this is soft. This is nice. And I really love the colors, and I'm thinking I might just get bold and put these two together. Now, one's merino nylon and sparkle, and the other's merino cashmere. But I think I really, give me your opinion, but I think I really like these colors together. What do you think? Anyway, so that's the single skeins that I got from Trilogy Yarns. Then I got this kit, Into the Deep. I don't know how big this is. I'd have to open it up and find out. But it is a complete kit, and it's a pattern by Karen Hooley. I suspect that maybe last fall sometime that Karen did a interview of Trilogy Yarns, and that's how I found it. She does a lot of collaborations with various yarn companies, and she provides a pattern to their yarn kits. So this is the kit, but I'm sure it didn't use this yarn, because this yarn is, sorry for the noise, this yarn is a gradient fade. Isn't that pretty? Now the yarn is Superwash Merino Nylon. It's the type where you can see the twist in it. Superwash Merino Nylon. Where do you get into it? Oh, there. I just want to see if it's fairly soft. Oh yes, it, you know, for a merino nylon blend, that is quite nice. These are each 20 grams. So that's about 80 some, maybe 87 or 8 yards, 80 meters. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's more than a skein of yarn. And I have to guess that this pattern, I can't get it back in because of the stickies. The pattern comes with a chart, which I always love. And it says that it's good cardstock. There's a picture of it spread out. Now, obviously, she's used other yarns. And finished size is 22 inches circumference at the neck opening. That doesn't tell me. 17 inches deep. So it's meant to be a neck shawlette type thing. And it uses 460 yards. Well, we have about 480 in this. So something I must look into making sometime soon. I do like Karen Hooley's patterns, and she does a good job of her patterns. If you haven't done a Karen Hooley pattern, and you know I did focus on her last September, if you weren't here then, you might want to look it up. I have done a number of her patterns. This was one that I showed you today of hers, and I did another one a couple of weeks ago. I showed one of hers. So she does have very good patterns, easy to follow, well written, and for those of you that like charts, almost always they have charts as well. So, and one last thing in that order was this kit, another kit, and I won't be making this pattern because this pattern is knit. But what I liked about it is, see how fuzzy it looks? What I liked about it is it put together 2 skeins of yarn. That I need to open this. And that's what I wanted, was the 2 skeins of yarn. They go together. They are both called Dusty Mauve. Pretty. And this is the plush base. Well, that means MCN. So it's already soft. And then it puts with it the Surrey base. And this is so heavenly. This is the merino cashmere nylon, as I showed you before. But this is 74% baby Surrey alpaca and whatever's left, 24% silk. Oh, it feels heavenly. And these match wonderful. I may put them together, but given that this feels so nice on its own, I may go looking for another purple that this could go with, that, you know, just plain merino, and put it with that. Just a sec. I might even do something like this. We'll see. There are so many possibilities. I never know what I'm going to do next. As you know, I'm always in a quandary trying to figure out what I want to do next. So, that is Trilogy Yarns, and I'm very happy with that. I will, when we get back to a better exchange rate, I would definitely order from this Trilogy Yarns again. I am very happy with the order that I got from them. I got this a long time ago. I probably got it before Christmas. I'm almost done all these piles on the table, and then we'll have no yarn to look at. Right, Judy isn't going to be buying more yarn. Okay, I've only one more thing I want to tell you about. I told you last week that you've been asking me about yarn and advent calendars and all the rest. So you will find today in the description box below this video a good size list of places where you can get advent calendars. I split it into 3. The first section are Canadian hand dyers. And I put little asterisks beside them to say, these are companies I have bought from, is one asterisk. Second asterisk, I really liked their yarn. Now, the ones that don't have asterisks doesn't mean I didn't like the yarn. It just means I really, really liked this yarn. Now, most of them don't have asterisks because I haven't ordered from them. I only know of the fact that they have an advent calendar available. I would not hesitate to look real soon if you are interested in getting one. Excuse me again. It's dry down here today. Either that or I'm talking too much. That's a possibility. I know that some of these companies are already sold out. Some of them say sold out, but if you look closely, they just wanted to get it up in the social media so you'd be aware of them. And farther down, if you read the fine print, it says release date is July the 1st or something like that. Because they aren't ready to start selling yet, but they wanted to get their presence known out there. But some of them are sold out. Now, I know you're all saying, oh, you know, advent calendars, they're too much money. They are a fair amount of money. And I really do realize that a lot of you will not be buying advent calendars. But if you have an interest at all, maybe you could put it on a Christmas wish list. Somebody, maybe your kids would go together and buy it for you for Christmas. Or maybe you could ask for it as a birthday present before Christmas, so you have it for the Christmas season. Or maybe you just save a little bit each week to put towards it, to get yourself that one-time special thing. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just suggesting ways that you might be able to get it, because there might be some people in your life wanting to know something special that you would like. And so I'm suggesting this. So to finish the list, I have Canada first, then I have the US. I have indicated in some of them that all I've done is give you the name of the company. These are not linked. The name of the company, and if they are on Etsy, I've put that they're an Etsy store. Some are both, then I may or may not put Etsy. But then after Canada, I have the US. And again, there are some companies I have dealt with before. And so I've indicated that. And then I did a third list, and that's international. And you'll see that there are, I think, a few from the UK. This one was from the UK. A couple from Germany. One from, did I see Lithuania? I think there was one from Australia, if I recall correctly. But anyway, whatever I could find. I did do a search on Etsy, and I put the ones I could find. Etsy is a little confusing to look at because they put everything, not just advent calendars. But I think I have eight or nine in each category, which is quite a bit of choice. But this is what I want to say. Take the time to read them carefully. They are not all created equal. They may have the same price, and one of them be 10-gram minis, and the other one be 20-gram minis. And a 10-gram mini, let's talk some are fingering, some are DK. So I'm going to refer mostly to fingering. Fingering weight, 20 grams, is about between 85 and 90 yards. If it's 10 grams, they only have 40 to 45 yards. If it's DK, again, even a 20-gram one only has about 45 yards. I don't think they do 10-gram DKs. I don't think I've seen that. Okay, the other thing is they may be only 24 minis. They may be 24 minis, and you can choose to add a full hank of yarn to go with it, or it may be automatically included in it. It may be only yarn. It may be yarn with a few little goodies throughout, the packages. They almost all come packaged and numbered so that you have a surprise every day. I ordered one. It cost a little bit more. I ordered one that actually came with some extra goodies. It didn't have any choices, so I think I'm getting 24 minis. I'm getting one full hank of yarn on Christmas Day, and I'm getting a few extra crochet items. Read carefully. Some of them are only knitted extras, and you may not want them. Or if you're a knitter, that's great. The one that I ordered that had the extras also, and this is very unusual, they had an extra goodie that you would receive at the time of purchase. Well, I purchased it, I don't know, three or 4 weeks ago, and I got my extra goodie, and my extra goodie was a crocheted pattern with a hank of yarn, and this happens to be DK, which is not my usual. I ordered a fingering weight advent calendar, but I got an extra hank of yarn and a crochet pattern, and the two go together. So I may be making that sometime in the near future. It also comes with 3 I think it's 3 crochet patterns. Now, this was a company that only had a knitted one. And I wrote them. I said, I'd love to get your yarn, but I'm not going to pay all that and only get, you know, knitting patterns and knitting needles and all this other knitted stuff that was in it. I said, because I know that costs money and I don't want to pay for it. And they came back a few weeks later with an announcement to crocheters that they had a crochet package as well. So I got it. Other things to watch are you getting the shipping free or is the shipping added on? And read the descriptions. They'll often show you a color palette or tell you if it's inspired by a certain picture or inspired by a movie. It'll tell you if it's all solids, all variegated. I meant to bring a picture. I'm going to try and insert a picture here because I received an email yesterday. Not that I'm buying it, but I received an email from a yarn company that only hand dyes striped yarn. It's self-striping yarn for socks. So if you are very much into making socks, this advent calendar, if I'm able to get the picture up here, produces yarn to make socks in their advent calendar, and it's not been released yet. They were just promoting that it is coming. So you may find the yarn is you get a gradient set in your package. You may get, like my drinks last year, all kinds of colors that don't necessarily go together. You may get tonals. Those would be considered tonals. You may get sparkles. You may get sparkles. Like these are very sparkly. You may get variegated. You may get speckled. Some sets, the year before last, when I did it myself, I got a set that had, I got the set from Reggie, and some of them were tonals, all of them were sparkles. Some were tonals, some were speckled. I don't think there were any variegated in her set. So read carefully, make sure you're going to be happy with what you get, and also read the fiber content. So the one I just showed you, that's merino, nylon, stellina. This up here is merino and silk. I had a set that was merino and nylon last year. This year I've ordered a set that's merino and yak. So there are differences. Everybody has their own special thing they want to do. Be sure to read carefully what you might be getting. But there's a lot of choice out there, a lot of variations. I did not begin to make that list comprehensive at all. I'm sure there are other companies out there, but I tried to get a nice selection of Canadian, US, and then international. So those overseas don't feel they gotta pay the huge shipping to get it from here. They can get it on their side of the pond. So that's it for this week. I managed to talk on forever. And I'm looking forward to still getting a whole lot of submissions from you for our slideshow for next week. So stay tuned next week for the slideshow of May items and then the reveal for June. And oops, I'm sorry. And until then, happy hooking.